Alright, so this is an overview of my Snow Performance water methanol injection system installation and some personal observations from the installation and what I use in it. We'll start in the back, in the trunk. Here I've mounted the 2.5 gallon tank. I just bolted it down to the spare tire cover, so it's really not in the way, it's easily removable. Underneath the tank you'll see I have the pump, the injection pump. It's bolted to the body down beside the spare tire. One thing to note, you notice the flow on the head is opposite of what it comes from the dealer. I needed to switch it around because this is the only way I could find to mount it, and the flow was reverse of what I need, the inlet and the outlet. So I removed the two bolts that hold the head to the electric motor, flipped it around, and reinstalled the bolts. It was very simple to do. The primary solenoid for the first injector is down here behind this cover. The hoses just run underneath. It's laying back in there. I ran the hoses along the side of the body, up below the door sills, all the way along to the front of the vehicle, up under the dash, and then finally out to the engine bay through the firewall. And here in the engine bay is where I have the second solenoid mounted. And you can see it goes to both injectors. It comes with 3 injectors that you can choose from, a 1, a 3, and a 4. Right now I have the 1 and the 4 installed. They recommend to use the with stock turbocharger, the 1 and the 3. I have a stock turbocharger, but I'm using the 1 and the 4. Just from personal experience, I need a little bit more cooling for EGTs, so I'm trying it out to see what happens. Modifications that I have Power Plus 520 nozzles. My computer's been shipped by rocket ship, so it runs about 18.5, 19 psi of boost, and not a whole lot else besides that, except a 2.5-inch exhaust from the turbo back. You'll notice in the trunk that the fluid is blue. It's actually washer fluid, which is supposed to be 32% methanol. It can vary in percentage a little bit. I know the warranty says to use only boost juice from Snow Performance, otherwise you void your warranty. However, not really worried too much about warranty. Most of the time I run just plain water, 100% water. I find that the water provides just as much cooling as the water methanol combination as far as EGTs go. And water is a whole lot cheaper than purchasing methanol and mixing it, or purchasing the washer fluid. The controller I've mounted right on top of the steering wheel, just some double-sided tape. As you can see, it reads out boost pressure, EGTs, and the percent of injection, or other combinations that you want to see. It does have an EGT pickup, which I installed, an EGT probe. Ran it down to where the EG2 cooler comes off of the intake manifold, which my EGR is disabled. I have used the 1 and 3 injectors mostly, which provides about 200 degrees EGT drop in most circumstances, whether it's 100% water or 50% water methanol mix. The methanol does add power using a 50-50 mix, but it doesn't really, as far as I can tell, provide much of an increase in cooling. I have run the 1 and 4 currently, and I've also run the number 3 and number 4 injectors for a short time. The only difference I saw with the increased water was it cooled more, cooled the EGTs more, but it also dropped power because of the large quantities of water that was being injected into the engine. I never noticed any flame out running just 100% water under any circumstances, even with the number 3 and number 4 injectors. However, with the water methanol mix, even the slight mixture, the 30% mixture that I'm running now, with the 1 and 4 injector at high EGT situations, 1200 degrees, when you let off the throttle, it still wants to inject quite a bit of fluid to cool the EGTs, and I've noticed some flame out, a little bit of shuddering. Kind of feels like a misfire in a gasoline engine. Let's take a little demonstration of just how the spray pattern works. What I've got is a compressor hooked up with a little air nozzle. This is the boost reference hose for the system. Just apply a little bit of pressure. You see this is the primary number 1 size injector, and this is the number 4, the secondary injector. With just a little bit of air. You see the number 1 engages. You add more, and then the number 4 engages also. So that's an easy way to test and see if your system's working as well after you install it, without having the engine running. Just make sure you don't have the injectors screwed into the intake manifold when you do that. That's about all I can think of. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll answer them if I know the answer. If not, I'll try to point you in the right direction. That's all.